Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. And today's video is going to be my top 10 picks for summer 2024. These are going to be at the forefront of my fragrance wardrobe this summer. Starting off with this one, Varvatos Artisan Pure. This is 125 mLs for around $40. Smells just like the texture of the bottle there. Wicker baskets for picnics or straw hats for the beach. Easy casual, dumb reach, white tea, white floral, citrus fragrance for the summertime. Wear it anytime, anywhere. It does have a dressed up appeal to it because of the florals. Gives it a certain gentlemanly class, but it's really awesome for just lounging around and relaxing in the warm weather. Next up, we've got H24 Herbe Vives from Hermes. This is a grassy, green, minty pear fragrance. Reminds me a little bit of the green and white rindy aspects of a watermelon after you've burned through all of the nice, juicy red qualities. The pear in here, alongside of that minty, cycool aroma chemical, comes off to be something in the same vein as I would say You or Someone Like You if you've tried that fragrance, or Xerjoff's Torino 21, but this really interesting green facet here and the slight wet feeling that you get from the H24 signature DNA makes this something that I reach for above those other two options, even though I know Torino 21 is a crowd favorite. H24 Herbe Vives is something that I've found myself gravitating towards quite a bit. Have this much of a dent in it just from wearing it this June. Looking forward to getting a lot more out of it. Actually, my fragrance of the day today. Going for around $100 right now, but after it's done being a new release, I can see it coming down quite a bit, just as its others have. Next up, we have in the 7th spot, Parfums de Marly Sedley. Nice little dent in this one as well. What you get here is basically a minty Sprite lemon lime carbonated soda with a strong lavender. So there's this gentlemanly old school aromatic lavender that takes this fizzy minty Sprite up from just being a beverage scent profile into something more Cologne-esque with that aromatic side of the lavender. There's also a lot of ambroxan down here that gives it a slight blue shower gel feeling, mass appeal. You can pick up that texture going on, gives it a little bit of a designer touch. There is some options for affordable alternatives for this if you don't feel like spending the money for this. I do think it's a little bit overpriced, but still really awesome stuff to cool off in the high heat. Next we have Dior Homme Sport 2021. This is my preferred pick of things like Tigar and Terre d'Hermes, just this powdery, cedary, iso-y super grapefruit lemon combination. This does that, I think, the best for the best price point proposition. This is around $120 for this 125 ml. Mass appealing and really nice sillage and cloud around you while you're wearing it. Reminds me a lot of just the light filtering in through the outside during the summertime with a little bit of a golden hue into maybe a polished wood study or someplace with an indoor citrus tree. Sort of the painting of a picture that I get from Dior Homme Sport 2021. Really awesome, versatile signature scent for the summertime. Easy dumb reach. Next we have another designer and bit of a hidden gem. A new discovery for me here in 2024, but a quick favorite. This is Paris Edimbourg from Chanel. Right around $150 for the 125 mLs again. This is going to be cypress, lavender, a little bit of sweetness from vanilla, and sparkly citruses. Reminds me a little bit of walking down a stone boulevard, maybe some candle-lit lanterns for street lamps, a little bit something old school in that way, with some lavender growing off on the side, some cypress trees. Cool air coming in from it being maybe towards the end of the day. This has got that cooling effect from the cypress. I believe there's juniper berry in here as well, so the juniper cypress combination does a really good job of just cooling you off. The lavender, musk, and vanilla gives this a little bit of an old school powdery, gentlemanly feel. Kind of stone-like in terms of the coolness that this provides when it's just emanating off your skin in the way that the stone is going to be a lot cooler than the air around it in the summertime. So the sparkly citruses do just give me a little bit of that picture of maybe some torch lit lanterns for street lamps walking down a stone boulevard in a lavender cypress setting. That's what I get off of that one, and like I said, the way that the cypress and the juniper come together does a really good job of just cooling you off. Speaking of cypress and cooling you off, this is another cypress-based fragrance, Tom Ford's Costa Azzura Parfum. Cypress being the main player here, you do then get a really nice marine blue touch along with the cypress's green qualities to give a blue-green woody take on the, I would say, Aqua di Gio DNA, if you're familiar with that. This just has that marine vibe going on to it with some really nice citruses at the top. There's a good lemon in here and some amber sweetness to kind of give this a rich quality. Regal in some sense. I think this fragrance is, I think the gold bottle does a good job of capturing that atmosphere. And then as far as it being marine, it's not aquatic at all. This doesn't have any wet feeling to it like a sea spritz coming off of the crashing waves. This is a lot more pulled back from the coastline, maybe up on a cliff, living in a mansion in the woods in a cypress forest, but you can see the coastline off in the distance and maybe some of that salty air is reaching to you, but not quite an aquatic in that regard. I think, like I said, this is just a much more grown-up and woody take on Aqua di Gio, and another one of my dumb reach go-tos during this time of the year. Next up, we have a re-release of a favorite discontinued fragrance. This is Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Plantine Prive. This is a re-release of their Cologne flanker to the Ideal line. You get green almond, neroli, grapefruit, vetiver, and musk. This is just a really pleasant, creamy, almost gourmand, yet extremely fresh and apt for the high heat fragrance here. My pick for a creamy citrus fragrance over Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche, if you're familiar with that fragrance. I think this one just has a little bit more of a masculine, fresh, aromatic side. This re-release actually is a little bit more bitter and sharp than the old one, and while I didn't like that at first, I actually think I prefer it over the old Cologne version now. It does have a little bit more of a masculine side to it, but really elegant stuff for a man during this time of the year, and something that's also a great summer night fragrance because of that amped up sweetness. Next, we have one from Creed. This is Aventus Cologne, sort of the fresher, more watery, wet take on Aventus. Not quite as woody and smoky, but you do get that nice medley of citruses, orange, pineapple, and then a little bit of that watery, creamy feeling going on. I believe there's some sandalwood, some spices, and then there's no aquatic notes listed in here, but it does, I think, maybe from the combination of the juicy qualities and the citruses and some of the other fragrance accords from florals, give it a little bit of a wet feeling, almost like Versace Pour Homme. That's a good combination between that and Aventus is kind of what this one gives off. It's just really mass appealing, easy to wear, and I don't think as played out as the original Aventus DNA, and it's just one of my favorites to rock and have that little boost of confidence going, because it's such a, you can just feel the quality of the juice inside. That also goes for these next two. We have Byredo's Bal de Freak. This is a really nice sort of tropical laundry fragrance. There's a tropical floral note in here that has an almost fruity side to it. The citruses are done in such a way that they almost feel atomic in terms of how finely ground they are, and it's just quite the sensation to be able to catch that off of this fragrance. There is a really good clone of this one from Paris Corner, but I do think that getting your nose on at least a 10 ml decant of this is worth it. It's a bit overpriced for what it is, but nonetheless I still am happy to pay the premium for this experience. It does have a little bit of a warm tone and evokes a little bit of that sunset, pink, orange, purple, that kind of color tone to me, just because of that warm tropical floral component that it has. Just paints things in that color scheme. This is Byredo's Bal de Freak, definitely one of my favorites for the summertime. And then finally, my number one pick for the summer is going to be Roja's Oceania. And this is a powdery, floral, tart citrus. Reminds me of lemon lime shaved ice. There's iris and violet in here. The violet is what gives it its oceanic quality per se. There's no aquatics, but that violet gives a watery tone to this fragrance. And then there's some kind of powdery woods going on. And then the iris also lends itself to a powdery and upscale sensation here. Really what I'm going to be reaching for over things like, you say, Dior, Homme, Cologne, Jimmy Choo Man Ice. This has that same appeal to a really nice, refreshing, cooling shaved ice or lemonade feeling, but that added little bit of complexity from the powdery florals, the violet, and the woods makes this just absolutely something I get lost in the scent bubble while wearing. It's very intoxicating, especially for a fresh fragrance, and one that I would definitely keep an eye out for deals on. You can find these for under $250 for 100 ml often, and it's well worth it in my opinion. Not the greatest longevity. I get about 5 hours with that one, but that's still pretty good for a freshie, and that is definitely a fragrance that is an experience, and I highly, highly recommend at least sampling it. And that was my top 10. Let me know what yours was in the comment section down below, what you've been wearing and what your scent is today here in summer 2024, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.